Praise my name, and you may yet live.
I will not tolerate.
My blood cries out for the vengeance of my people's blood, which can only be repaid with at least twice as much blood, or maybe 3 times as much blood. Like if you went to hell, and it was full of blood, and that blood was on fire, and it was raining blood, and maybe that would be enough blood. But probably not.
Father, bring them to us.
The party knife bids thee.
Welcome. Open your eyes. Witness the majesty of the godless. Defiling their faithless souls. Oh, such an honor. To greet the godless Southlanders. Like a puppet you dance, pulled by testings and strings of the Rotfather calls you. Drain them of life, Father. I dine on your soul.
That's right, the only thing to kill more people in 2020 than the coronavirus, Nurgloth the Eternal. Now you have exactly 4 seconds to memorize this chart. Just kidding, I'll put a miniature in the corner later. But first, what's up ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Party Knife Vermintide Advanced Mechanics Guide. This time diving deep into the sack of shit that is Nurgloth the Eternal, Vermintide's very own raid boss and killer of quick play. But without further ado, let's get to the Monster Guide Part 3. Now, overall, the boss fight can be split into 2 different parts, the first of which has 3 different stages that repeat in a cycle, one of which can be skipped depending on your DPS output, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, the 3 different stages of the first part of the fight appear in highly predictable sequences, usually going either 1-2-1-3, repeating, or 1-2, skipping part 3, and then repeating. But let's go through them one by one, starting out with minions and mind control. Which, you guessed it, is the part of the fight where he shoots mind control bugs at you while minions are spawning. Now starting with the minions, it will vary depending on game difficulty, what minions exactly and what numbers will be spawning, but it is always going to be non-special chaos minions, basically anything between a fanatic and a chaos warrior. And for this part of the fight, your goal is essentially to clear out all the minions in order to progress to the next stage. And for the entire duration of this stage, Nerkloth himself is invulnerable and will be shooting these mind control bugs at you, which I'll get to shortly, but there are essentially 4 different places where minions will spawn from, or enter the arena if you will, 2 on each side next to the entrance point and 2 on each side next to Nerkloth. All of this happening whilst he's bombarding you with his mind control attack, which is where our good old friend positioning comes into play and just completely saves the day, as we get to the first important strategical tip of the video. Because you see, projectiles, they tend to travel in lines. Straight lines. Not in the real world, entirely straight lines, but you get the idea, right? Straight lines. It's really not complicated at all whatsoever. Yet people in quick play just don't get it. And it blows my fucking mind. So allow me to explain. If Nerkloth is the black dot, he can shoot in all the directions of the red lines. Now there are essentially 6 locations you can put a barrier between you and his attacks. The first 4 of which are essentially just hiding right behind one of the pillars. But the problem with that is if one of his shots goes past the pillar, you don't have any time to react and you can't actually see the shot. If you, however, as I will now demonstrate, position yourself such that the pillar furthest away blocks his shot, not only does it have a larger block angle because it's the pillar closest to him, but at the same time, if one of the shots misses the pillar and actually comes towards you, you still have plenty of time to react, which is why there's only 2 correct spots, 1 on each side. And remember that a simple melee or ranged attack can destroy the projectile mid-air, and if you should get hit, a simple melee attack on your teammate will disrupt the effect, allowing you to put your focus on killing all of the minions, which should activate stage 2, the Donuts of Death. Now you preferably want to be prepared before you kill the last minion and already start rushing towards the middle, so that you're already in position and ready to deal damage when he teleports. The reason this is important is because if you deal sufficient damage during this stage, you can entirely skip stage 3, which usually results in a healthier team with more provisions arriving for part 2 of the boss fight, which is the hard part. But let's look at it one more time and break it down. He teleports into the middle, and your DPS should already be standing ready to dish out headshots, as he activates the first explosion, which is a small circle just around him. And in my experience, the easiest way to do this is just to walk straight up into his face, start shooting as soon as you see the first circle, don't even stop aiming, just move a couple of steps back, and continue to shoot as the second circle spawns, and just take a couple of more steps back. And don't stop headshotting him, as he eventually spawns the largest explosion so far by area, which is easy to counter by simply continuously moving backwards while shooting until you hit a wall. And then as soon as that explosion has triggered, you immediately rush forward all the way up into his face and just continue to bash out headshot after headshot, since you don't really have to worry about the circle getting smaller when you're all up in his face. And you can just continue to DPS until the final explosion has triggered, at which point he's either gonna stop and let you DPS him more, or if you've hit the damage threshold, he'll teleport back up to his spot and start stage 1 all over. Which brings us to stage 3, trash and teleportation, which only triggers if you don't manage to hit the damage threshold, which will prompt Nerkloth to teleport around the outskirts of the arena, in similar fashion to the second part of the Raskinid fight on Skittergate, although quite a lot more relaxed, with a continuous flow of trash minions whilst he's shooting super low damage projectiles and just teleporting around until you hit the damage threshold, at which point he'll initiate stage 2, and thus moving on in the sequence. Now once you've completed this cycle of hitting the damage threshold twice, he will initiate a third and final stage 1, which once completed by way of clearing out all of the minions, will trigger part 2 of this boss fight, which is where it gets tricky, or interesting, depending on how you look at it. But regardless of your philosophy, it will prompt Nurgloth to teleport to the center of the arena, and from that point on there will be no further changes to the overall fighting mechanics. You have now reached part 2 of the boss fight, which will run in a cycle indefinitely until you either lose or kill Nurgloth. And really there are only 3 mechanics in play from here on out. Nerkloth himself, who will start to levitate and pull out his scythe and aggressively start attacking whoever has the aggro. On top of that, you have to deal with a never-ending continuous flow of chaos trash minions, which will spawn just about as quickly as you can clear them, and will very rarely ever give you more than a second or 2 alone with Nerkloth. All of whom's attacks, by the way, are entirely and 100% blockable without taking any damage. However, as you probably already knew, there is quite a significant knockback effect on his heavy attack, and once every 10 seconds there will be a new explosion on the outskirts of the arena, which triggers in roughly 2.5 seconds from the first frame, lighting up to indicate the explosion area, with the damage identical to that of part 1 stage 2, the numbers for which I've listed in the bottom left corner based on the game's difficulty setting. Now just to be clear, those numbers are the damage of the actual explosion and not Nurgloth himself, who deals 20 to 30 melee damage on Legend and 30 to 50 melee damage on Cataclysm, whereas the explosion deals 37 on Legend and 58 on Cataclysm, which pretty much means 2 explosions and 1 attack from a trash minion and you're dead. And that just about covers all of his mechanics, which brings us to the next question. What the fuck to do about it? Especially when you're playing quick play with such plebs. Well, stay around and find out after this quick message from Nurgloth.
Join us. 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 Join us.
Sorry about that. Just had a little bit of sellout stuck in my throat. Where was I? Oh yeah, what the fuck to do about it? Now I'm gonna show you 2 examples of how it nearly always goes wrong in quick play, and 2 examples of how to do it right. But first, there's one trick which really just makes a world of difference. Now if you recall, I told you earlier that all of his melee attacks are entirely blockable without taking any damage, and it can definitely be advantageous to just get stuck in one of the columns rather than being sent flying into an explosion dealing 58 damage. Now granted, most heroes, especially on Cataclysm, wouldn't be able to be in this position forever, since you're potentially also gonna be blocking attacks from trash minions. But here's the thing, and this part is absolutely super duper crucial, especially to quick play. The thing about getting stuck in one of the columns is he stops moving, which makes it so much easier for one of your teammates to take the aggro, since they're not chasing after him while trying to deal damage and just ending up getting hit in the back in an attempt to actually move forward towards him. So this is nearly always a better strategic move, assuming you aren't on your own. Now allow me to show you 2 examples of just how horrifying it can be in quick play, after doing everything so right and just still having absolutely no chance to carry it at the end. But don't worry, there is a simple solution to the issue I'm faced with here, which I'll present to you momentarily. Now before I give you the solution, try to see if you can figure out yourself what the single overarching issue was in this boss fight.
Hello, I am Dr. Abdullah Abdul Rahman. I graduated from Harvard University and have over 30 years of experience for diagnosing disease. If you want to know one thing, this right here is cancer.
You need aid, Quiver.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming I played that perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I've recorded every single quick play encounter I've had with Nerkloth since he was released, and I've looked through the data, and there's an overarching trend that is so clear in quick play, probably accounted for roughly 9 out of 10 of my losses, and it essentially comes down to people not giving a fuck about taking aggro on Nerkloth. Again, I'm not trying to blame anyone on the team here specifically, because this could have been any 3 people in quick play, it really could. But the issue here is that once he's on one person, if people are only fighting minions, you're essentially dooming that person to die sooner or later. Like in this clip here, even though I managed to headshot him 4 or 5 times, no one took the aggro for even a moment, which means I had nothing to do. Like, sooner or later, I was gonna die, and there was nothing I could do about it. Now, if you have to make the call between resurrecting a person or getting the aggro off your DPS, you have to take the aggro off the DPS. Now, really the key word here, especially in the context of quick play, is swapping aggro. Take the aggro when you can, and let someone else take it when they can. You have to switch it around, because otherwise there's just no way you can deal damage. Like, if you don't have enough burst damage to just clear him down immediately, then you're essentially just slowly losing the game. But allow me to leave you with 2 highly coordinated examples. One being Legend with 2 strangers and a bot, and the other being Cataclysm with my Weave team. Over here. And as soon as we killed these minions, we go into the center. That's now. And now DPS. And then a bit further back, move a bit back. Then a bit further. And all the way out on the last one. And then forward afterwards. Good job, back to the spot. Yeah, same thing as before. Okay, and then back to the spot.
Can't feel my hands. Healing.
DPS the boss. Good job, well played. side over here, so we can block with the end pillar. Okay, as soon as everything dies, we go straight into the middle. Okay, so be prepared to go to the middle as soon as the last minion dies.
One potent surprise coming right up. All right, come on then.
And back to the spot we were in before. So I'm not sure if we dealt enough damage, but if we did, he's gonna go back into the middle again. No, we didn't. Okay, back again. One more time. Now for part 2 of the boss fight, try to notice how we're constantly swapping the aggro around as soon as someone is in trouble.
Guide. We worth it.
You are no match for me.
This is how it's done. Busy. Or something special to repair. Down. Don't let me die with my boots on. Tend your wounds, is all. Buggers won't see me. Yes!
For the rot.
What? He went for me even though I wasn't in this? Oh, so close.
Didn't take you for a quitter, Marcus.
He literally, while I had the invisible, like while I was in my ulti, he just suddenly switched target, went straight for me and just hit me in the face. Like while I was invisible. GG, well played.
Good morning. Today I'm very proud of myself.
What a great honor it must be for you to honor me tonight.
I told you, Wesley. Curing this cancer? No problem. Give me 1 month, I cure the cancer. No problem. Easy, easy. What the fuck am I talking about? What up, guys? Party Knife here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As some of you may know, I was recently in the land far, far away, known as Croatia, where with a bunch of friends, and basically there was this stand where they were selling knives. And I went up and I was like, "Do you have a party knife?" And he looked really weird at me, and I was like, "Never mind." And then I saw this, and I just had to get it. Like, I don't know how well you guys can see, like, has like a bluish yellow, a little bit you know, different colors that tint, and like depending on the lighting, not the lightning, that would be dope though. Lightning knife, no, freaking dope ass knife. Like, I just love these. I think they're so cool. Anyways, just thought I'd show you guys this little souvenir. And anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's all I have for you guys this time. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I love you guys. Stay awesome. Peace out.